It's a neighborly day in this beauty wood. Would you be mine? Would you be mine? It's a neighborly day.
All right. Good evening, neighbors. Before we start, there will be POAPs given to those who participate in the first six neighborhood talks. So all you have to do is screenshot the Twitter space and put it in a POAP channel in our Discord the same night. And it's that simple. The POAPs can be used in the neighborhood ecosystem, so you might want to get as many as you can. Back to you, JD.
Absolutely, Mocha. Appreciate that. What's the deal, neighbors? This is your boy JD Jones, and I'm one of your hosts for Neighborhood Talk.
And this your girl Mocha on the block. Apologies.
It's all good, Mocha. You already know how we do, man. Here at Neighborhood Talk, we want to welcome all of our listeners and our supporters, but allow us to introduce ourselves. We are the newest and the latest, and soon to be most influential Web3 platform to ever exist. Not only here at Neighborhood Talk is this our space to share our latest and our newest projects, such as Neighborhood Tales. But this space we share it with the dopest guests, and tonight is no exception. Mocha, do our listeners a favor and please let them know who we have the privilege of hosting tonight.
Yes, I'm very excited to bring her on. She is a NFT consultant. Ashley, go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience, please.
I love that intro. That's probably one of the best intros I ever had. So shout out to y'all for that. But
Yo,
hi
respect.
everyone.
Respect.
Phew, we feel like a whole celebrity. Okay. Hey everyone tuning in. My name is Ashley France. I'm an NFT marketing consultant. I own a consulting agency where I help well-to companies bridge into the Web3 space, as well as help current Web3 projects and businesses in regards to marketing, branding, community building, and overall increasing their ROI.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's dope. That is super dope. Now, I know we talked about it just a little bit before we reconnected here, but I really want to know if you can just let our listeners know again on record, how'd you even get into NFTs, Ashley?
Yeah, for sure. So, as I mentioned briefly before, my mentor while I was in law school introduced the term smart contract to me, and I kind of just dismissed it, didn't really pay much attention to it. Fast forward to about, I want to say 2018, 2019, when I was, quit my job, had my marketing consulting company, and I was having talks with one of the owners of this studio called Dance 411, which is one of the biggest studios in Atlanta. If you know, you know. And he was telling me how he was developing blockchain technology for a company. And we were talking about it for maybe 30 to 40 minutes, just explaining how this is going to be the new wave,
Yeah,
etc. And at that time, I was like, okay, cool. This is something tech companies use, like not thinking this is technology that everyday people can utilize, but this is just something that big tech companies will utilize. Great. Fast forward to 2019, I got connected with one of my current clients, Isaiah Jackson. He's a really big Bitcoin influencer, educator. He's been investing in cryptocurrencies. When I say over 7+ years, he was deemed as like one of the top influencers by CoinDex. So definitely check him out if you don't already follow him. But before he hired me, he told me that you need to understand this world. You need to understand cryptocurrencies before I can work with you. And I was just like, I don't care about this. I'm just trying to like let me do what I do. Let me do my marketing. Let me do my branding, and I'm gonna get you right. Like, just let me do what
yeah,
I do. And he was like, no. He was like, you finna learn this. You want to learn this information. So I did learn about it. I learned about this space, learned about investing in cryptocurrencies. And even at that time, I still wasn't 100% sold. I always tell people I'm not an investor. I teach people how to invest in the most important asset, and that's themselves.
yeah,
So I teach people how to invest in themselves to make money, utilizing the tools and resources that they already have, their expertise and skill sets to make money. That's what I do. So when he introduced me to the term NFTs and the concept, when I started studying and realizing it, and I was like, why in the world did we ever use social media? There was no point as content creators for us to ever use social media where
yeah,
we could put up our content and everything we created on the blockchain and own it, not only profit the first time, but get residuals forever.
yeah.
I was like, we have been hoaxed. Like, this is crazy. So from then on, I got super intrigued just to learn about the space. I had conversations with people Like Cynthia, who I got introduced to by her mom, Crypto Mom. If I don't know if you guys are familiar with them, they're really big people in the Web3 space. I started having conversations with CEOs of marketplaces such as like Super Rare and Rareable, and this was before the big Bored Ape like outbreak when everyone's what have you. This was like before that. So I was having conversations with people at marketplaces, etc., and realizing there was such a huge need for marketing in this space because it's a bunch of tech people putting stuff together and they have no concept of marketing, branding, or building community. So I decided to pivot and start working with more of these type of companies and individuals. And as I was doing this for a period of time, I realized that it would be selfish for me to keep this type of information and education that I've learned to myself. So since then, I pivoted my content on socials to discuss more about Web3 and marketing and breaking down, how people can get into the space and what the space is about, etc. Because a lot of people see Web3 just as like cryptocurrencies or just investing in, Bored Apes or crypto punts and like flipping it. But as I mentioned before, I'm not an investor. I believe in utilizing that technology ourselves to make money or utilizing our skill set for these companies to make money. So I've just been on a mission of, educating my community and the people I've been able to on my platforms and other platforms that I'm able to get on about, other ways to get into this space without having to necessarily, buy NFTs and flipping, but, utilizing the blockchain technology for your own business. Or if you have services, as I mentioned to everyone, Web3 companies are the same as any company. They need marketing, they need branding, they need an accountant, they need legal, they need admin. So a lot of them are at the stages where they'll even teach you and help onboard you to learn about this space and then come work for them. So
You need
that
to
is my
drop.
story.
You need to drop those companies in the chat.
Yeah.
But I 100% agree with all of it, and it was just so much information that you just said that like it's so much I want to pick apart. But what was the man's name that you mentioned earlier so we can follow him?
Oh, Isaiah. Yeah, let me give y'all his at name. You know when like his at name on here is different from his at name on Instagram, which is so annoying because it's like I always think about the Instagram one. But
Yeah,
I
I mean you
think
can do that too.
what is oh no, I'm pretty sure. Let me see. Okay, it's Bitcoin Zay. That is his at name.
Oh, him.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. So now that we have that, um, to my next question. I know before like you sent me your ebook and I took a deep dive into it. Can you let the like there are a lot of buzzwords nowadays. So like Web3 is one of them. Can you like let the audience know like what Web3 is?
Yeah, for sure. And what if y'all are wondering what she's talking about? I curated an ebook basically to kind of break down not only just simple terms but concepts in regards to Web3s and NFTs, just to provide like an introduction for people to understand what those are talking about because tech people love to give things random words that don't make sense. So I broke it out into plain English. So if any of y'all are interested in that, definitely feel free to click the link in my bio and grab that. But Web3 is the new iteration of the World Wide Web. I like to say it. It's like, how Instagram continually updates itself and they have iOS 60, so whatever we're on, 70 at this point. Think of that as the new updated version of the World Wide Web. And I use the term Web3 often because it's the umbrella of all the other things that we see and talk about. Cryptocurrencies, metaverse, NFTs, blockchain technology, all of that falls under the Web 3.0 space.
That is dope, man. Ashley, you're a really busy person, right? We can tell in your bio that you got a lot of opportunities. One of those happened to be that for Revolt.tv, you're actually a Web3 contributor. And in your
Yeah.
latest article, you talked about how fashion is quickly taking over the metaverse, right? Can
Yes.
you talk to our listeners about this thought or concept that digital fashion is the future of the fashion industry?
Yes, for sure. So a lot of high-end brands like Gucci, Prada, Balenciaga, etc., have all dived into the Web3 space. Some of them have done it through NFTs. Other ones have done it through digital wearables, which is just wearable clothing that your avatar, in the Web3 space can use. And then other ones have had actual fashion shows in the metaverse, where it's these avatar digital creators or creatures rather that are walking in a fashion show. Even department stores like H&M are curating experiences in the metaverse where you'll be able to shop just like you were in a physical store. So like walk around, look at clothes, etc. And then they're even going to update it to a point where you'll be able to like try it on virtually and be able to purchase the item so that you can not only wear it in the metaverse, but also get it delivered in real life, right? I know a lot of people get kind of skeptical about the metaverse, but as I tell people, Sims was the pre to all of this. This has been
Yeah.
going on for a
That's
long
true.
time. It just had a different name.
That's true. 100%.
So
Yeah,
that's basically the combination of like the physical world and the digital world. So there's these physical items that you can actually purchase, wear it in the metaverse, but also have that physical copy of that same, the design or fashion material in real life as well, right?
Exactly. And I love that you brought up that term, Fizz Digital, however you said it properly. I didn't say it right.
some people
But
say digital.
digital, there we
Yeah.
go. That is a term that is popping up more and more because Web3 companies are realizing that to onboard people, you have to meet them where they are. It's kind of like when you're teaching somebody to swim. You can't expect them to just jump off the deep end and dive in. You got to teach them the basics of like floating and kicking and all those type of things. So to be able to onboard people, you need to meet them where they are. So there's so many Web3 companies now that are kind of bridging that gap between offering physical and digital products. Solana being one of them. They actually are curating a physical store location in New York where it's basically a hub for people to be. It kind of looks similar to an Apple store, if I'm being honest, but it's basically a hub for people to come in and get set up into Web3. They'll talk about Solana, they'll talk about Web3, they'll help you set up your wallet, they'll help you purchase things, etc. So I think if we do more of those types of things where we're meeting people where they're at, where we're creating environments that they're already familiar with, and then educating and onboarding them that way, that will definitely help increase and progress the road to mass adoption for sure.
Yeah, and Neighborhood Tales does that, or we'll do that in the future when we launch. Just throwing that out there.
Good plug. Good plug.
Yes.
I will always plug us in. But also I see that you're interested in the music industry as well and Billboard. So can you tell me more about Billboard and how they're breaking into the Web3 space?
Yeah, so I've been working in the entertainment industry for over 6+ years. I was head of marketing of a distribution company. I've worked with individual artists like Roscoe Dash and Slim Jimmy, and done consulting for international artists as well. Currently, Billboard is one of my clients. I'm their Web3 business development artist relations manager. So, what that means is I help onboard artists to do collaborative NFT drops on Billboard's marketplace, which is called Chart Stars. We actually just launched another NFT project with Sam Smith yesterday. So definitely make sure to check that out,
Yeah.
billboardchartstars.com. And yeah, they're super excited. They've been working on this initiative before I started. There they have other projects that they drop with artists like Ferocious, who's a really big Web3 artist. The Weeknd, Madonna, etc. We did a really big one for Women in Music Awards. So they're really big on not just like jumping in the space, but taking the proper time and attention to making sure they're bridging into Web3 properly and surrounding themselves with the right people and partners to execute these amazing projects. But the main thought process behind creating this NFT marketplace is for fans to be able to own these important moments in musical history that their artists have created, right? Whether that be with a chart achievement, whether it be something having to do with the individual artists, etc. So that is kind of the concept behind that. And I've been able to help them in regard to strategizing for those projects, as well as coming up with different ways to bridge into the Web3 space, finding certain partners that make sense, etc.
Dope, dope. Hey, Ashley, you mentioned you're a Web3 contributor for companies like Billboard, right? But also for Revolt.tv. How did the Revolt opportunity come about?
So I don't contribute for Billboard, just to like clear that up.
Good clarity.
Um,
Good clarity.
I don't contribute for them. I help them with the strategy when it comes to Web3 and marketing in that space. Um, But yes, for Revolt, I am a contributor for them. I have my own column. It's called Worldwide Web3, and it focuses on things going on in the Web3 space and culture. It's just the two together. My next article actually comes out tomorrow, so definitely stay tuned for that. The Revolt page always posts it in the morning on Twitter, and I'll post it on my socials as well. But actually, how that came about is someone I know who has been following me for a while. Me and her chat back and forth via socials. We met like once or twice in person because she works in entertainment. She saw my content on my socials and was like, "Hey, I want to do this piece about Web3. Can I ask you questions, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, sure. So she sent me over questions. I sent it back to her. And then shortly after, her editor, so the head editor of the entire Revolt site, emailed me, was like, "Hey, I saw your answers, to this. And we've been looking for somebody for like months to do a Web3 column. Would you be interested? How much, what have you?" And I was like, oh, okay, bet. So I told her my price. And then she was like, are you able to, do it? Do you have the time frame? And I was like, yeah. And we've been rocking ever since.
That
I
is
never
super dope.
I never thought I'd be though I write articles and I have a blog on my personal website. I write articles on LinkedIn daily. I never thought I'd be a written contributor, maybe like a content creator, but again, we never know what's going to happen. But it's been dope. I love always being pushed to be a better writer. That's a skill you never want to lose. And I'm obviously constantly researching and finding about the new and what's going on in the space, and having this column pushes me to do that even more.
Now, here's the thing: Billboard is going to hear this recording, and they're going to be calling you like, "Hey, that guy JD Jones already said you're a contributor for us. You might as well come and join us." So watch out for that.
You're funny.
Yeah. All right. So of course, NFTs. What is your favorite blockchain to mint them on?
I don't have a favorite, and that's just because there's pros and cons to all of them. Um, there's pros and cons to all of them, and I would say it depends on the project, right?
Mhm.
Like, it depends on the project, it depends on the audience that you're trying to reach. But because I do work with Billboard and we are on the Flow blockchain, I've been working with them, not necessarily them directly, but working with the blockchain a lot. And I really, really like it because, one, the gas fees are super, super low. And two, you only need a email and a credit card to be able to purchase NFTs. Now, I know some people may say, well, that defeats the purpose. People should have wallets, whoopty whoopty whoop. But I'm all about lowering the level of entry for people to be able to learn about this space and to be onboarded. So I really love that it allows them to do that, because with other blockchains, a gas fee, even if you're getting a free NFT, you got to pay $100 because
That's
it's the gas
true.
fees. And it's frustrating, especially the current market that we're in. So I definitely do rock with Flow, and I love that they curated something to be able to, like I said, have low gas fees, not take a lot of energy, to mint NFTs, and to be able to onboard people in an easy and safe way. Because it's like, okay, this new technology I don't know about. If I can just use my credit card the first couple of times, that's great. Now that I learn about the space, then maybe I start to feel more comfortable in getting a wallet, and learning about other blockchains and going on other marketplaces, etc. So I definitely do rock with them. But I will say this: other NFT marketplaces are have started slash are going to start allowing people to buy with credit cards too, which I do love. I know MetaMask, now you're able to buy ETH through Apple Pay directly in the app. So again, as I was saying earlier, meeting people where they're at, these companies are seeing like, oh snap, we gotta do something to bring more people onto the space. So I definitely love that they're taking these initiatives to lower the barrier of entry for people to learn about the space.
Yo, that is lovely. 100% agree on that too. Girl, we just see eye to eye on so much stuff. But I will like to drop again about neighborhood tales. On minting day, there like gas fees are on us because of that barrier to entry. And we care about getting people into the spaces that like we're usually left out of. So that's what we decided to do as a team on Minting Day.
Super dope, super dope. Shout out to Neighborhood Tales. So, for educational purposes, Ashley, do you have a favorite wallet to store your NFTs on that you want to share with our listeners?
See, I don't want to. Y'all keep saying the word favorite, and I don't do free promo. No, I'm just kidding. I don't necessarily. I think just because all of these, because this technology is so new, I can't say one is more favorite than the other because a lot of them, all of them have had issues. You know what I mean? But what I do recommend for new users, definitely MetaMask for sure. That's what I recommend. I wouldn't say I have a favorite now. Like I said, a lot of these places have kinks and things to work out, and everyone has pros and cons. But in regards to making it simple, I'm definitely in as easy as possible and doing like I love stuff that like you can just do on your phone real quick. Like some of these, Web3 products and sites, you have to pull out your whole laptop, and like people don't want to do all that. Like we need to make it as easy as possible, meet consumers where they're at, make it accessible, whether it be an app or directly through your Safari. But again, for new users, I definitely recommend MetaMask for sure.
That's true. And what about like long-term storage? Do you recommend Ledger and things like that as well?
Yeah, I definitely recommend Ledger. I definitely do. One thing I will say about their brand that I really like is they are big on education, and they are big on curating events and spaces for people to learn about them, especially women and people of color. So I definitely do rock with them. They had a bunch of events. I couldn't make all, unfortunately, at NFT NYC. So outside of just the product, the brand in general, I definitely rock with.
Nice. So what advice can you give listeners as far as like what to look out for scam projects in the NFT space?
Hmm.
Like the top ones to you.
The top ones to me. Okay. Number one being right. I want to say if it's too good to be, let me not say that. Okay. I take that away. That's too vague. I have a whole list, so I'm gonna just have to go through the list because I can't just do one.
Go ahead.
Um, First thing being is just checking out the actual like projects like pages and socials. If you looked in by this time, we should know if it's just bots or people like commenting, you know what I mean? Like under their stuff, if they really don't have real engagement, if there's nobody, like zero people, whether it be the
Yeah.
underground or mainstream Web3 people talking about that, that's definitely like a red flag. If you can't find anything about the creators of it, not saying their actual identity, but if there's no information about them in regards to like being a part of past projects or just being connected with other people in the Web3 space, that's a red flag. Another thing in regards to like utility and perks, if it's too vague to not understand what you're getting or when you're getting it, that's a red flag, right? And I know things come about and stuff happens. There was one NFT project where they promised some type of IP to their as utility, but then their copyright like expired, so they had to renege that. Obviously, they didn't mean for that to happen, but things happen. So I always tell people when you're coming out with utility, first things first, just curate things that you know for certain that you can give off the ease, something concrete, whether it's like tickets, like whatever it is, like think about those things first, right? Then think about things that you can offer to your community in collaborations with other communities, right? Whether that be relationships with people you've already established or ones that you're working on. And then also give room to grow. Mention that you want to include, more events or more this or more that, and you want the community to vote on that. So that gives you more leeway to grow and not necessarily promise things that may never happen. But you do have to have some type of concrete something there, right? Like that deserves it right there. And then also, some type of time frame as well. Making sure they're allowing their community to hold them accountable. If you say that you're going to deliver something by this time, making sure that you're doing it, allowing open conversation. And then also just make a project that makes sense to particular brands and communities. Not everybody needs to drop an NFT. I say this all the time. Sometimes it just doesn't make sense. But with companies like MasterCard and Visa who have gotten into the space, based on who they are as a company and what they provide, it's been making sense. Like if MasterCard just dropped the NFT, that wouldn't make sense. But the fact that they're like partnering with people in Web3 and creating these initiatives and programs, like that makes sense. So that's why, as I mentioned before, of what I do, it's not just like the marketing and branding, but it's having those pre-conversations with companies and saying, okay, does this make sense for you to do? Or does this make sense to partner with an existing NFT company? Or does it make sense to have like a type of Web3 studio? Or maybe it makes sense for you to do something in the metaverse or a wearable or to, like whatever it is, but it has to make sense to you and your brand. And it also has to be something that your community actually wants and needs, right? Like you don't want to just put out stuff just to do it.
Super dope. No, super informational. We appreciate that drop and that info. Hey Ashley, for the people who are entrepreneurs, and how do you think they can best implement NFTs into their businesses?
Oh, side note, guys, shout out my friend, my client who I was talking about earlier. Zay's in the building. So supportive. Shout out to my client Zay. He in here. I was just talking about you. Someone must have told you. Okay, sorry. Can you repeat the question?
No, absolutely. We're good at drawing the crowd. Here we go. So the question is, how do you think that people can best implement NFTs into their businesses?
I'll start. I have different ideas for different businesses. I'll start with musical artists since that's the space I focus on. I always tell musical artists before you don't have to mint your music as NFTs first. The key here is value, right? And as long as you're providing value to your audience, that's going to spill over into your other streams. So for Web2 artists trying to get into the Web3 space, I tell them, think about what your consumers want from you the most. And it's not a percentage of your royalties. It's more access to you as a super fan, right? So creating an NFT where it's some sort of membership where your community gets access to you, where they get voting power, where they feel like they're a part of the journey of your process of creating that single, that album, what have you. Doing that because they feel a part of what you're doing and now they're financially invested into this space. Now you're able to your streams, your tickets, and everything else that you're doing is going to spill over into that income, because it's like, okay, I buy an NFT for my favorite artist. I'm financially invested. I know the better they do on their streaming and their tours and everything else, the higher this NFT is going to do. So I'm gonna help promote and I'm gonna help market, etc. Right? So I always tell for artists to do that first before venturing into actually turning music into actual NFTs. In regards to the resale game, right? Because a lot of people are into like sneaker resales, etc. Like NFTs are a great way to authenticate luxury goods or goods in general. I know there's been huge scams with like resale people and sites, etc. So having this NFTs will allow you to not have to worry if the stickers you're getting are fake or if something's wrong. Same thing when it comes to purses or Rolexes. You have something that authentic. Please, y'all help me today. So
Authenticity.
I was gonna say authenticate. There we go.
Okay,
There you
there
go.
you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
And even outside of luxury goods, now certain race car companies who make parts, they're utilizing NFTs to actually authenticate those actual parts, right? Because there's certain engines and things, et cetera, whatever that you need for those official like race cars. So they're utilizing NFTs so that people aren't getting scammed and they're not getting hurt with that. I saw another use of NFTs for hotel reservations. They're not currently in the US, but it is a hotel company outside the US that's utilizing NFTs for hotel reservations. So as we know, if you don't cancel before maybe like a week or two before, you lose out on your money and you can't get any of that back. But with NFTs, it's like, say I can't make my reservation tomorrow, I still have that, NFT, so I can utilize it again. Or if someone wants to, I can just sell that last minute and sell it for a higher price since it's like a last minute reservation. You see what I'm saying? So there's so many different ways that you can utilize NFTs. And I think we just are on the tip of the iceberg, whether that's, as a membership, as I mentioned before, for like new age Soho houses or, access to certain communities. I think we're still super early in the space and we're only going to see it even more and more progression, when it comes to it.
Wow. I can kind of see that like going like really, really well for the hotel. But also, like I also think of the baby formula shortage. So it's like, will people just go through these hotels and just buy up everything just to resell it for a higher price? Is what I think about also.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. And I completely agree. That can be used in any aspect of when it comes to like reselling, authenticating. So I think more and more companies are going to continue to adopt this practice, and it's going to get to the point where the word NFT is not even mentioned, that we're just going to be using it, right? Very
Yeah,
similar to filters. Like people don't realize how that's like, AI technology. No one's saying like a filter, but that's exactly what it is. So I definitely know it's going to get to the point where we're going to be utilizing it in our everyday life without us even knowing.
gotcha. Okay. Goodness, that's a lot of information. I love it. Um, okay, so we're gonna move on to the next segment of our neighborhood talks, and it's called Capper Facts. I won't give you a lot of questions since we talked about a lot so far. So it's basically a series of questions where you just respond Capper Facts and you give your reasoning as to why. Um, so the first one is NFTs will be obsolete in the next year. Capper Facts.
Cap.
Why do you say that?
I think we're just getting started.
Yeah, me too.
We just getting started. Like I know people love to say, "Oh, it's just a trend," and da 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 da. I mean, that's what they said about the internet. That's what they said about social media. I see so many similarities to blockchain tech. See, when I tell people too, it's not just about the NFTs that I like talk about so much. It's the technology behind it. Because there's so many things you can do with the actual blockchain technology that has nothing to do with NFTs. And I think that ownership and monetization is so powerful. And that's something I was stressed on my early days as being an influencer online. And so many people told me, like, oh, this influencer stuff, that don't mean nothing. You can't make real money. That's just a fad. Wooty wooty whoop. And now here we are. Everybody is an influencer. Funny how that
Exactly.
works. So I just see the same thing when it comes to this technology. Like before, businesses didn't want to be on social media, right? They thought, oh, I can just have the yellow pages for y'all who know what that is, depending on how old you are. I can have commercials, etc. Now nobody watches cable anymore. They only have streaming. So where do people go to learn about
Yeah.
products is social media, right? So now to survive, you need to have social media. So I think the same thing is going to happen in regards to not necessarily just NFTs, but the blockchain technology in general.
Super dope. That's a great perspective. Hey, Ashley, my Capper Fact question is: music on the blockchain will flop. Capper Fact.
Cap.
Big cap. Okay. Tell us why it's
Mhm.
big cap over there, Ashley.
Because
You
blockchain
dog.
tech, blockchain technology is going to be the thing that releases musical artists from the chokehold that they're currently in.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be. And it's they thankfully, thanks again, going back to social media, that was the first step, because now I can go viral without needing a label. That was never possible before. You could not,
Yeah.
you needed radio play, this that was impossible. With social media, they said, oh, we don't need that. We don't necessarily need that, right? I can go viral tomorrow and get this amount of streams, right?
Right.
But
Right.
as we know, or most people don't know, artists don't make money from streaming. You make money from touring. Most streaming sites give you like 0.0001, not to mention you're splitting that with the writer, composer, producer, etc. So you're not really making a lot of money from streaming regardless. So the only way you can make money as an artist is from touring, or if you actually develop a brand deals, or creating your own business. So I think blockchain technology or artists on blockchain will allow them to be able to make a sustainable living without having to tour like crazy. I mean, we have artists like Latasha who sold a music video for 50,000. We have artists like Black Dave. We have so many different artists in the Web3 space that are killing it and making a real living from it, whether that's selling their music as NFTs or selling NFTs in a particular way or just utilizing the blockchain technology in general. I think it's just, the educational piece. And that's what I'm really big on. And that's a big part of my role, even at Billboard and outside of Billboard, is educating, musical artists and showing them, hey, this is how you develop yourself as a brand and how you make money even when you don't want to do music no more.
Yeah, that's so dope, Ashley. That's so
Yeah,
dope.
yeah, and I was just learning like in my class because I'm in a master's right now. I was learning about how artists are, I don't want to say underprivileged. I don't know if that's the correct verbiage, but how they're so misguided and underprivileged when it comes to the music industry. And I just started to learn about like how I think it's something to where they can sign a deal and then the label have access to their name and their everything involved with them being in the music industry, that I think they have a hold of them for 75 years after their death and 25 plus, to like make sure that their lineage doesn't even get a cut of their own money. So I just found it like ridiculous about how they're treated,
Yeah.
especially like learning about the 360 deals. And I'm like, as a blockchain developer, I was like, what can I do to help them? And
Yeah.
I started coming up with things in my head that make sense. But it's all a matter of like actually coding it out and actually doing it and being in a room with people that can make the stuff happen. So
Mm-hmm.
it is nice to like talk to somebody who's like involved with it, because now I can get it all out, and it's like we understand it.
Yes. Oh, listen, even crazier. These labels take out life insurance policies on these artists. So
Oh
when they die, their family don't even get nothing.
goodness, that's even worse.
It's actually insane and it's really sad. I just saw Bobby Schmurder talked about his hot nigga record went platinum 5 times. He didn't make any money from that record.
Wow.
Goodness.
Zero money because the label gave him money up front.
Oh
Now, yeah. So now obviously we know he's independent, X, Y, and Z. But yeah, he didn't make no money from that. So
yeah,
it's just so many artists. He said, like a lot of these artists, they don't come from good neighborhoods. They've never seen real money. The attorney that's negotiating the agreement works for the label. They're like $1 million, $500,000. I never seen that in my entire life. And
not a
not
lot.
realizing that's not money just you keep. Or not realizing that they're signing their life away, like as you mentioned, with likeness, etc., to these labels. And thankfully, a lot more people are having these conversations. So there's more education happening. A lot of people are becoming independent. So there's more education happening. So it's just, okay, that's the first step. We see that these labels are messed up. These contracts are messed up. Let's go independent. Okay, what's next? And that's taking the time to really understanding building yourself as a brand, as well as utilizing these different streams of income. I tell people Web3 or NFTs or blockchain is not. I'm not saying make that your sole only focus. There's so many different things that you can do, but think of it as a new stream of income that you can make money off of forever.
Yeah, of course. Residuals is what they should definitely keep in mind, because it was also, darn, my mind just went blank. Oh, about like yeah, my mind went blank. Sorry. It was regarding artists again, but I'm gonna remember it when the call is over, so I already know
Don't you
that.
hate when that happen, Mo? Because it's just like you got a good question. It's just like, where the hell did it go? It's just like whatever. Blame it on the day, right?
Yeah, man, it's been a long day. But anywho, this is the last capper facts question. So having an audience is key to success in the Web3. Well, in Web3.
Facts. But it's not the size of the audience, it's the quality. That's the difference. I,
Yes.
I had this conversation. Yes, who was I talking to? I don't remember. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were saying, oh well, all these, these people that you mentioned seem to be very well known in the space. How do you make money without having a bunch of followers? And I say that's the beauty of Web3. You don't need a bunch of followers to make money because you're not trying to get millions and millions and millions of streams. That's not how this works. You're able to make money by having community, whether it be 500, 1,000, 2,000, what have you, who gets value from you on a daily basis, who rocks with you and will invest in you. People are paying, someone I know, someone paid 2,600 for a song. You know what I mean? So it's like, and that is about like almost 1 million streams on Spotify. Like there is no need to have to chase those crazy numbers. And a lot of times when artists do that, and as I'm sure we've all seen, when some of our favorite underground artists are trying to make it big, then they switch up their flow, they switch up their look just to try to appease the mainstream people. But with the Web3 and blockchain technology, you don't have to do that. You can be you and have your people and make money and prosper. Iman Europe, that's a really, really good example. I know she even with her community, like crowdfunded for like, like one of her creative spaces or for like one of her singles, etc. Because it's like these people rock with you. They're financially, emotionally, and mentally invested in you, and they want to see you win. So they're going to do what they need to do to help do that. So that'd be my answer.
Beautiful. So that will conclude all the questions. Now, are there any final words that you want to give to the listeners, like how can they reach you, etc.?
Yeah, so y'all can reach me. Make sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Triller. Yes, I'm on every platform. Um, and that's another thing I will say. Don't limit yourself to just Twitter. You are doing yourself a disservice because there's millions and millions of people across these apps that want to know about you. So make sure to take the time to repurpose your content across socials. But anyways, definitely make sure to follow me at the Ashley France on all social platforms. Definitely make sure to click the link in my bio, grab my NFT ebook if you're interested in learning more about Web3 NFTs and me breaking it down. Make sure to continue to support the neighborhood talk. I love these type of platforms where we can have real conversations, we can have informative conversations. So definitely make sure to continue to support this platform in any way you can possible, even just a retweet, a like, shout out, what have you. All of that goes a long way. So y'all definitely make sure to continue to support the neighborhood talk. And thank y'all for having me.
Absolutely a pleasure, Ashley, to have you here at Neighborhood Talk. Wonderful, wonderful platform you have, and we're excited about all that you're going to do for the NFT space and Web3 as a whole. But y'all know how we get down. We're right back at it next Tuesday, August 23rd here at Neighborhood Talk. Man, we got a treat for y'all. I'm talking about actor Lucius Bastan. I had a chance to meet this guy in Miami this year, man, and I'm just talking about dude is hilarious, but smart as a whip, man. I'm excited to have actor Lucius Bastan with us here next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You don't want to miss what he has to talk about Web3. In addition to that, you already know we described ourselves as the latest and the newest. And to hold that standard, we got to have the newest and latest prizes. $100,000 in cash prizes we are giving away here at Neighborhood Tales, Neighborhood Talk. All you have to do is be a part of our Discord. The exclusive updates regarding these prizes can be found in our Discord. To follow our Discord, head over to NH Tales right after our web page. Follow our Discord to stay up to date with all of the exclusive drops when it comes to prizes. In addition to updates and upcoming events, we got NFT Nashville, our own creator and founder of Neighborhood Tales. Will be talking everything Neighborhood Tales at NFT Nashville in front of a stadium that's going to be packed. I'm excited. I bought my ticket. The crew is coming with me. We got live interviews that's happening on site. You don't want to miss NFT Nashville, where our creator, YO Cheers, will be talking everything Neighborhood Tales. That's it for me, y'all. Y'all can find me everywhere at JD Jones. Mocca, you already know I call you Big Mo. It's been a pleasure working with you and hosting with you. And that's it for me, y'all.
All right, y'all. So I just want to thank you all the listeners, for tuning in to episode 5 of Neighborhood Talk. And just a reminder, I want to reiterate that there will be POAPs given to those who participate in the first 6 neighborhood talks. Now, the only thing you have to do is just screenshot it and put it in our POAP channel in our Discord in the same night. And the POAPs will be used for the neighborhood ecosystem. So y'all, I guess, tune in today and Tuesday so you can at least be involved in there. And also, you can find us at NH Tales on Twitter and Neighborhood Tales across every platform: IG, TikTok, Discord, LinkedIn, Facebook, and you can catch the recordings of the neighborhood talks on our YouTube channel. So we just want to make sure y'all get every bit of us as y'all possibly can. Now,
Facts.
y'all can find me, Mocha on the Block, on IG and Twitter. So it's been a pleasure. And
Hey,
until
Mocha,
next time, what's
shout
up?
out to Daniel from Casino Coin. I see him in one of our listeners. Shout out to Daniel from Casino Coin. Pleasure to have you, sir.
It's been a pleasure, y'all.
It's a neighborly date in this beauty wood. Would you be mine?